Aboy Manila, this is Aishadel from ManilaShaker.com, and this is the newest budget offering from Samsung, the Galaxy A12. It is equipped with an entry-level chipset, MediaTek Helio P35, along with 4 plus 128GB configuration. But despite not having the gaming chipset that we used to see in on entry-level devices, does this phone really gives the potential to game? Let's find out.
Quick specs before we get to the actual gameplay. It has a 6.5-inch IPS LCD, 48-megapixel quad camera, USB Type-C, and like I said, it's powered with a MediaTek Helio P35, an entry-level chipset but with a decent process. The GPU is PowerVRG A320, clocked at 600 MHz. Our unit's configuration is the 4 GB of RAM plus 128 GB of storage. The battery is also huge, a 5000 mAh battery, but considering the 720p display and less power efficient 12nm chipset, will the battery last longer? Let's see it. We will start with 100% battery so that we can also test the battery performance later. The first performance we will test is the benchmarks. Here are some results. Let's hope that optimization will be the main thing about this phone. Actually, I love how Samsung has its own app to keep you on the latest games and some data to track your gameplay. It makes their phone close to you and be your companion you need. And this is the ecosystem that Samsung offers in gaming. But let us still see what it can give. The first game are RTS games, starting with Mobile Legends. It is surprisingly in high quality settings at the first launch of the game, and it has HFR mode, which is a nice start, but upon playing the game, we cannot reach 60 FPS and it introduces some noticeable stutter but not all the time. I can still play the game without interruption or frustration, but we get around 45 to 55 FPS in teamfights, which is an acceptable performance because at least we are playing the game higher than 30 FPS, which some phones cannot offer due to lack of HFR mode in the settings. So by lowering the graphics settings will be the best option to enjoy smoother gameplay. Next is League of Legends Wildrift. Though Mobile Legends is of high quality, we were surprised that the quality settings in Wildrift are in performance by default, which is the lowest quality on Wildrift. Good thing it has 60 FPS and the game is on average 58 to 59 FPS with 1 to 2% frame drops each game. The frame drops is not noticeable and not distracting at all in clash or team fights, so overall both RTS games works fine on the Galaxy A12. These next games are first-person shooting game, starting with PUBG Mobile. In game settings, it can only go up to medium frames equivalent to max 25 FPS, which is quite a bummer. Although we still get quite stable gameplay upon landing, so we tried to play the game on both low and balanced quality and we still get 24 FPS to 28, and it has a 97% stability. I can say that it is quite playable and I did enjoy the game. Not for competitive gaming though, but for casual use, like playing with friends, it is good. Next up is Call of Duty Mobile. Again, we don't have all the settings unlocked, but the good thing is we have at least high frame rates, which means we can play at 30 FPS but in low quality only. So stability versus graphic is the main thing here. In fact, playing the game shows higher FPS and we recorded at least 40 to 50 FPS in game. Well, for competitive gaming it may work fine, but for me I want to feel the smooth 60 FPS and responsiveness. So Galaxy A12 will work fine in Call of Duty Mobile. However, for those who have high standards on playing on mobile, the responsiveness is not that responsive enough when you flick shot, and it doesn't offer a gyroscope, so maybe adjusting the sensitivity will do the trick. With that being said, we also tested to play Battle Royale mode. Surprisingly, it is stable, and again for casual gaming, it is enough at 30 FPS or so but in low quality settings. So if you are on a budget, this works fine. Now testing games from MiHoYo developers. First is Honkai Impact 3. Honkai Impact 3 is in medium quality by default at 30 FPS. However, we couldn't get that stable gameplay. It has frame drops every runs and couldn't get at least 30 FPS average. Now, by lowering the graphics settings at very low, we still get drastic frame drops but with more stability than before. So maybe if you just want to try the game, then try it, and if it works fine for you, then it's fine. But again, it's not for competitive gameplay. Then on Genshin Impact, to be honest, it is not advisable to play this game on this phone. It has more frame drops than stability, which makes it unplayable. Again, if you want to play Genshin Impact with an acceptable performance of at least the lowest quality, there are some mid-range devices that can do that for you. Now for our battery update, it drains 25% of our juice in 2 hours and a half of gameplay. The results of our endurance test as well is quite on par with other phones we reviewed with a 5000 mAh battery. Temperature of the device is fine and acceptable with no heating issues occurred, but as for charging, since we only have 15 watts capability, it took almost 2 hours and a half. Again, it can play 60 FPS in Wildrift, it can play RTS games fine, it is acceptable in those first-person shooting games we tried, but in Honkai Impact 3 and Genshin Impact, the game seems to be having difficulties. So for competitive gaming and graphically demanding games, it appears to be not exactly that incredible, but this device is not just for gaming but for other needs. And if you want to see the other potential of this phone, you may want to click on the top right corner of the screen to watch our review of the overall purpose of the Galaxy A12. This is one of the phone of choice if you are looking for a phone that can do other things rather than competitive gaming on a budget.
And that's the gaming review of the Samsung Galaxy A12. What do you guys think? Is it worth it? Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts and opinions. So I hope you enjoyed our video. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of our future content. Also, don't forget to visit manilashaker.com for more tech news, reviews, and comparison of the latest device. Once again, this is Aishadel and Mabuhay, Manila!